Welcome to another episode of Michael's Record Collection. I'm very excited to have with me today from the band Night Ranger, guitarist Brad Gillis. Brad, thanks for your time today.
Hey, Michael, my pleasure, my friend.
So, you have a brand new album, just came out on the 6th, just a few days ago, called ATBPO, which is short for And the Band Played On. Which I always get tongue tied and I have to think about the letters in the order they're coming out. So,
Me too.
it's coming out. It came out on a digital CD and various colors of vinyl. I know I've seen blue, red, and I believe yellow. I'm not sure if there are other colors, but maybe
There's
traditional black.
aquamarine and there's fuchsia and no, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's kind of good because you're diehard fans that have these big record collections like those, and I just want to get one myself, and then I could actually put a new needle on my record player and actually play that, and maybe some old albums that I have a huge collection of.
Yeah, I'm always curious as to whether artists collect one of everything they put out. Do you do that with your work?
Yeah, actually, I do. All the records and merchandise and stuff, especially going to Japan, get all these eclectic stuff from there. Just grab it and bring it home, put it in a box, or I give some to my daughter and get smalls for her, and she wears it around her friends, hey, look, my dad's cool, kind of thing. So yeah, I try to collect anything obscure and Night Ranger oriented.
Hmm. You're on Frontiers now, Frontiers Music, SRL. I believe you've been on with them for a few albums now. How are they treating you?
Yeah, it's all good, man. They release worldwide, and we get good numbers, and they had us sign about 750 CDs covers a couple weeks ago, and that took a while. But anything to help out our own product sales and to get it out there, it's fine with me. Yeah, they've been real good to us. We've been with them quite a few years, quite a few records, and they seem to have a handle on all the 80s bands and bringing stuff back out and around. And so we have no problems with Frontiers. They're great.
Yeah, they've been really a strong proponent from rock groups from that era and a lot of heavy metal. So they've been really championing that type of music. It's been good to see. Before
Yep.
we talk about this record a little more, I want to ask you to tell me what your first favorite record was.
My first favorite record. Well, Michael, I had the pleasure of having a brother that was 7 years older than me. So when I was growing up playing guitar when I was about 12 or 13 in the late 60s, that's when all those great records came out. Jimi Hendrix and The Doors and Led Zeppelin and Big Brother and the Holding Company with Janis Joplin. And I was just getting ready to start playing lead. I was playing I started when I was 8 years old, got my first guitar, had my first band when I was 10, just playing chords and Gloria and stuff like that. But I really got into it in around 68, 69. My brother would pop in the records that I mentioned and put them on his turntable. My brother was in electronics, and he built me this little box that had a guitar preamp in it. And he took the line out of the record turntable, put it into the box through the preamp, and then I'd have I plug my guitar into the box, went through this distorted preamp he built out into a headphone jack into my headphones, and I was able to control the volume of the record player on my guitar to get a mix and just sit in his room and play all these records. So I mean, as far as my idols, the number one is Jimi Hendrix. I mean, his flamboyance was just unreal, and blown away by everything he did back then, being a Stratocaster guy myself. And then, of course, Led Zeppelin came out, Jimmy Page, just, king of melodies, and the two note chordal arrangements and all their songs. And then Jeff Beck, less is more, Tasty. So those are the three guys that influenced me the most. And but just sitting in my brother go out every night, and I just sit in his room, especially on the weekends when I didn't have to get up early and go to school, just sit and just play these records and start to learn how to play lead. I learned everything by ear. And my brother being 7 years older, he had a buddy who played in a band, and he would come over and give me some tips on what I'm doing and kind of, egg me along, say, yeah, do this, do that. But he told me when I was about 10 years old, my brother's friend came over and said, Brad, why are you, taking lessons learning Mary Had a Little Lamb when you could just be listening to the radio, kind of pick up stuff by ear. And once you figure out what that one chord is and, how it moves around, usually all the songs back then were kind of 1, 4, 5s, E, A, B kind of thing or whatever, or close facsimile thereof. I was able to pick up by ear, and which enabled me to learn songs in club bands when I was in high school, and getting out of high school, starting to play clubs and just learn everything by ear. But it's been quite a journey. And then as far as Night Ranger, with the new record out, it's great. And we got a 40-year anniversary next year. Oh boy.
Now, you took part in one of the, I think, maybe the most underrated of the various 80s famine relief projects with Hearing Aid. What was that
Yes,
like for you?
that was quite an experience. When you walk in and you got, Yngwie and George Lynch and Neil Schon and, all these great guitar players back in 1984 that were on top of the world, and every singer imaginable that was singing in every rock band, all to get together for this record. And it was kind of fun because I think it was, it's probably a 13-minute long song, and about 7 or 8 minutes of it is guitar solo. So everybody had like 16 bars to do their thing, right? And I mean, I can't, you can't compete. Everybody's trying to play as dexterous and fast as they can. I thought, I can't compete with this. So I just did what I did best. I did a whammy bar harmonic solo. So that was fun, but just to hang out with everybody was great. And then we all got together at the very end and got on a big stage podium and sang, "We're stars," the big chorus and everything. And then you had all your singers coming in and doing the verses and stuff. So it was a great experience.
Now, did you guys draw lots for where you would appear, where your solo would appear, or how did that work?
Oh, no. Ronnie James Dio just got us in the studio, and he'd play it, and we'd, do our thing. And then they ended up comping everything together at a later point. But, it was great because everybody was kind of egging everybody on, in a positive way to bring the best out of them. And, when you're under pressure and you got all these great guitar players around you tend to play a little better or be more, that to get more of that adrenaline going through you. So that was just quite an experience, and for good cause. And Ronnie, God rest his soul, he really came through, doing something to benefit people, starving people,
Yeah. So you guys are actually out on the road now, is that right?
I am home.
You look like you're home, but I know you guys just played Sturgis, right?
Yes, we did. We played Loveland, Colorado, and we got stormed out with lightning and everything, which no musician likes to cancel a show if you're there and the people are there to see you play. But we got rained out. Then went to Sturgis, and wow, that was a crazy one. We've done it many times. Had a huge crowd, and Kerry Kelly, the guitar player, was back in Orange County. He was going to get knee surgery.
Yeah.
So I was going to step in and do double duty, play both parts on everything. And then we had a buddy of ours, Gilby Clark from Guns N' Roses, come up and sat in with us on the last couple songs. So, the crowd loved that. And so we pulled it off. It was a lot of fun.
Good. How's everybody's health? Because, you mentioned Kerry's knee. I know that you had like a rotator cuff thing going on. It's been a couple of years since Kelly had his heart procedure. How's everybody doing?
Well, okay. My shoulder's better. I had surgery a little over 4 months ago. First 2 months, dead in the water, doing nothing. And actually, Kerry Kelly came in and they did a couple shows without me, and he was doing double duty. But I had a great doctor. This guy, Chinese guy named Dr. Ho, he came in. He was a Night Ranger fan. In fact, when I did my initial Zoom call with him, he was singing Sister Christian. I was like, oh, stop. but I knew he was a guy. And I asked him straight up. I said, Dr. Ho, is it going to screw with my dexterity playing guitar? He said, no, nothing near any of the nerves. Your fingers and your dexterity will be fine. Mm-hmm. And he said, Brad, I'll take extra care of you, knowing that I was being a fan and knowing I was a musician. And he put a little extra time into going deep through my muscles to my rotator cuff. So he was less invasive, which meant I had an easier healing time, a shorter healing time. And I can't even see that I had 3 incisions, about ½ inch, where they put the camera on the scissors and all the stuff. And then one in the back, you can't even see where he did it. I mean, he just amazing doctor. And then I find out that he does 100 of these a year. Basically,
Wow.
he does knees and shoulders, rotator cuffs all year long. He did 10 years with big sports teams and 20 years, 16 years where he's at now. So I had a good doctor. I'm all good now.
Good. Have you guys had, obviously, you must know that there have been a lot of recent cancellations of tours and shows with COVID resurging. Have you had internal discussions about how you guys are going to handle that?
Yeah, well, we're all vaccinated and we're all careful. We all wear masks, and in fact, our show at Sturgis, it was a prerequisite that everybody wears masks backstage, which I thought was good. When we travel in the planes, of course, you have to wear a mask on a plane, and then when we travel from our cars, getting from the hotel to the gigs, everybody's wearing masks inside the transportation vehicle. So we're doing our part to stay away from it now. The audience, that's a different story, man. I mean, especially Sturgis, a little loose there. And with all this resurgence going on, I mean, we're possibly anticipating things being shut down again. And if it does, it's what it is, and we'll just deal with it.
Yeah. Now, the shutdown last year actually led to this new album. You guys were at home and you ended up on a couple Zoom calls, getting together and writing some parts. And tell me a little bit about how you guys came up with ATBPO.
Basically, and the band played on. That's pretty much how that title came about. Is everybody down and out. We played on and did a record. So basically, we could not get together. And this started, I think, last September-ish, starting the record. So we knew we were going to be down and out for a while. So we thought, hey, let's do this record. So it started out with initial calls from Jack Kelly and I doing Zoom. We all had ideas, started flushing them out on Zoom. Had our maybe a phone on the side on the recorder to record these little ideas. Then we brought Kerry Kelly, a guitar player, and Eric Levy, our keyboard player, in. Then they kind of started adding the stuff. Now, Michael, everybody has their own home studio, which is a wonderful thing. So after the initial Zoom calls, going through ideas and getting a rough format of what we were going to do, we came up with the arrangements and would put down a rough click track of the song and maybe a rough idea of Jack playing acoustic and singing, or me playing my riff and Jack throwing something over the top, or whatever it might be to start the process. Then Kelly Kagi, living in the Phoenix, Arizona area, went into a big studio down there and cut the drums, which I think the drums came out wonderful in this record. Yeah, the nucleus of any record is drums. Once you have great drums, I mean, then it's a great starting point. So he did that, and then we just started passing the files around everybody. They do their own thing, and we get on calls. We talk about this and do that, and bottom line, all said and done, we had 16-ish songs and picked the best 11 and bonus track maybe for Japan or whatever, and finished this thing up. Anthony Fox came in and threw all the files and everybody's parts together, and we kind of sifted through everything to get mix. And Kerry and I came up with harmonies, and Jack and Kelly worked on vocal lines, and I tell you, a record that no one would think would be possible, but when you listen to the record, you would never think that we never got together once.
Yeah, it's a really amazing album, and I was going to ask you about the production, because the press release didn't say who produced it. Was it a self-produced thing, or was Andy the producer for you guys?
Well, Anthony Fox came in and put it all together, but we're calling him all the time and going over what should be done. So basically, it was produced by the band and Anthony Fox, but the band always has final say what's going on. But Anthony's great. He's done so many great records. He's in high demand right now, but he delves into a record with us, and he puts 110% into it. But it took a while, and we knew we had the luxury of time. And having the luxury of time, doing a record, pulling off the best songs, and just, instead of, back in the day, Michael, you go in the studio, for $1,500, $2,000 a day, you're doing a record, and, all right, you got a half hour to do your solo, come up with it, do it, play it, think about it, fix it, do it again, or whatever. we had the luxury of time to be able to, I could sit at home and know I'm going to be putting a guitar part in this section. And I play something and warm up. You got to warm up. You got to come up with ideas, listen back. And then you just got to throw something down. And then, and it ends up being kind of late at night and you're done for the day. And then you wake up the next morning and you listen and you go, that's cool, or that ain't cool, or that section is cool, and I can do better here. Then you just kind of redo it and come up with the final product.
Okay. So you said you had 16 songs and you whittled them down to the 11 that you ended up with?
16 or 17. I don't know. I can't remember. I know we have some left. At one point, we may try to finish off, but you always want to get the best songs. You want to get the songs that are, that people most relate to and stick in their head. And that's the whole idea with music. And it's something that when you hear it, it like brings back a great old memory, or reminds you of some girl or whatever, just something that hits the audience, the listener's nerves, and in a good way. So we took our time.
How many of these, if any, did you have initially sketched out? Like, did somebody bring in something that they had been working on, or I guess what I'm asking is, if it wasn't for the pandemic shutdown, would this album exist?
Well, yeah, because we were planning on doing a record anyway. The last couple of records we did, we went up to Jack's house when he was living in California, about an hour from me. Mm-hmm. And he's since sold this place and moved up to Washington State. But we'd go to Jack's house and record these records, and just stay up there and fly Carrie in, and Eric lives up where Jack was, and then fly Kelly in, and we do our records that way. So basically, it was a new system for us to do this record, and we wanted to do it. We were down and out doing nothing, and what better way than to be creative in a COVID situation?
Yeah, one of the great things about Night Ranger is you've always had that 2-guitar attack, and you mentioned Carrie Kelly as has been your guitarist for a few years now. Replaced Joel Hoekstra, who in turn replaced Jeff Watson originally. Do you still do it the same way in terms of divvying up the guitar parts? You say, oh, this sounds like your style, this one's my style, and then maybe fight over the ones you both want to do, kind of thing?
Yeah, this has been going on for 40 years since the inception of the band. I mean, back in the day, Watson and I, we'd figure out, what song fits our style the best. And, and also with Jack and Kelly, whose ever vocal fit the song the best. And when they'd argue on things, not argue, but like, well, I kind of want to do it. Well, I want to do it. It's like, all right. And Jack would sing the verse and Kelly sing the B section. And the three of us would come together for the 3-part harmonies on the chorus. Mm-hmm. Well, the same with Watson and me back in the day. We'd, something that hard driving rock thing, have Watson do it. I knew Sister Christian would fit my style the best. And so I did that. But then, Jeff went in and did the ballad Goodbye, he did that solo. And, when Jeff and I used to argue about who's playing what, Jack would come in and go, come on, guys, just do a harmony solo. Like, okay. So we do that. But basically we just kind of did whatever fit the song the best,
Yeah. So what kind of gear did you use on this record?
Can't Afford a Hero is that nice little ballad. I dug deep into my guitar and amp collection and pulled out a 57 Strat, going through a black-faced 1965 deluxe reverb Fender amp, and got that classic tone that so many records were done with throughout the decades. And so that's what I did for Hero. Otherwise, I used my main red Strat, my 62 red Strat, on a bunch of songs. I went through, Marshalls, high watts, and then also through the box. You go through your computer. There's Guitar Rig that has great sounds. Mm-hmm. Kind of a mishmash of different amps and such. But as far as guitars, I mean, I got this gold sparkle Gibson 3-pickup SG that I used on a couple rhythm parts. I had the luxury of doing whatever I want, which was fun. Yeah. And but you try not to get too out there on sounds. You sort of kept it mainly in the rock vein. And But for Hero, using that 57 Strat through that Fender amp was awesome. And I got that tone, you know.
Hmm. So for people that are maybe not familiar, the core of the band is still yourself, Brad Gillis on guitars, Kelly Kagi on drums and vocals, Jack Blades on bass and vocals. You have a new keyboard player, or he's been around since I think 2011. Eric Levy is your keyboard player who replaced Fitz, and Kerry Kelly on guitars that we mentioned. You guys did, I think, a great job with the guitar work on this album, and there are a lot of places where I'm not sure if it's somebody using an effect to double the sound or if it's you guys playing harmonies. Can you tell me a little bit about how you guys played on this?
Well, we don't use too like doubling effects and stuff on our guitars. There's a lot of harmonies going on. In fact, there's a
Mhm.
lot of background parts that are sitting back there that I think is what you're talking about, and those are harmonies that are put off in the distance and maybe a little reverbed out just
Mhm.
for color. So that's one thing about a record. You want to have all these different colors to bring out different modes and moods for the song. So we had the luxury of time, so we did all this stuff. In fact, it gets to the point where a lot of vocals and extra vocals going on there just because we kind of threw everything into the hat.
Yeah.
But, then when you mix, you kind of pull back some of the stuff and, you don't want too much, too many ingredients in the soup.
Hmm. The album starts off with "Coming for You," and it almost sounds like, I don't know if it's a promise or a threat from the band, but it's a rocker. It's like, sounds like you're saying we're coming for you.
Yeah, people are saying, "Hey, man, that should be your opening song. Hey, we're coming for you." So we're kicking that one around. But yeah, that's a fun song, and this record is a lot harder than our last couple of records,
Hmm.
but in a good hard rock, good grooves, but mainly it's hummable chorus, memorable choruses, and hopefully solos in certain sections.
Hmm. You mentioned the three-part harmonies. It's they get the classic three-part harmony Night Ranger sound. But what I like about this record is that it's a little more stylistically varied, I think, than your first three or four records. I don't know if it has more to do with the maturity of the musicians writing the music, or not working with the producer that you used over the first few records, but there seems like a wider palette.
Yeah, well, the songs are written and they're what they are, and we kind of step out into different, kind of grooves and tempos, and once we start putting vocals on it, if the song is viable for the record, and then we just finish it off. And I mean, every record's different, Michael. This one's what it is.
Yeah. Breakout was the first single, and it's a balls out rocker. I think it's maybe your best rocker since, I mean, not to diminish what you've done since then, but you can still rock in America. This is maybe the best rocker since then, and it looks like you guys are having a ball doing it. When you did the video, I get a little concerned in that location. Did anybody get tetanus shots before they went out there? I don't know what that place was where you shot the video, but it was
Yeah, little nutty out there, wasn't it? That's the
yeah.
Salton Sea, out in by Palm Springs, California. No, I mean, it kind of smelled out there. The story with the lake right there. It used to be, I think, either freshwater or saltwater. I think it was saltwater, and then erosion came, 30, 40 years ago, and saltwater mixed with fresh water, and it killed all the fish. And this little resort that people used to go to ended up being a ghost town. Well, all the people that live there now are like abstract artists and stuff, and they take a lot of their stuff to Burning Man and these crazy things out there. Anyway, they bring them back and they put them out in the fields and around the area. And then when we went out there checking it out, we thought, wow, this place is awesome. So we did both the first two videos there.
Do you still like doing videos? Do you is it just kind of like an occupational hazard to you, or how do you
Oh
feel
no,
about those?
we like doing anything and everything. The thing is, back in the day, doing videos, it would take us 2 days for one video and cost us $100,000. It was kind of a joke if you think about it. You got all these big, directors going, oh, do this, do that. We just had Brian Isley, a good buddy of mine, who does a lot of video stuff. We just had Brian come out and did both videos in one day in two separate locations. So we had it all done in probably an 8-hour period.
As you said, the MTV 40-year anniversary. Were you aware of that? I know that MTV was very big
Of
part
course.
of your success, and I think vice versa. I think bands like Night Ranger were part of the reason that MTV was successful.
Sure. I mean, that helped us to, break out of the box with Don't Tell Me Loving in our first record, Dawn Patrol. MTV just came out with that 24/7 format. They didn't have enough videos to put on it. So when we did our Don't Tell Me Love Me video, they probably literally played us 20 to 30 times a day, Michael. No
Mhm.
problem. Put a face to the band, to the sound. And then when we go on tour, people recognize us because they saw in the video. So and then we probably did a dozen videos overall, and they all were pretty big on MTV. So that was a definite catalyst for us.
So you have some songs on here, a couple of ballads, but they're a little different than the old style Night Ranger ballads. I feel like they're a little more almost like bluesy, country rockish, more so than like what you had on Sister Christian or Sentimental Street.
Yeah, just something a little different.
Yeah.
That's part of those songs I'm telling you about. Things being a little different, and but if they end up making the grade, we put them on the record. Just a
Mhm.
very little diversity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Adversity. Yeah. Hold on, Michael. I got another call here in 3 minutes.
Oh, no problem. Let me wrap it up. Then I'll ask you do you have a favorite song on this record?
Oh, I like Breakout. Breakout's got that, you know, Coldest December. I love Hero, Can't Afford a Hero. There's a lot of them I like, but I haven't really listened to it much because we listened so much back then
Mhm.
that you know I'll sit down and listen to it here real soon, just get back into it. But when you make a record and going through all the mix and everything, the last thing you want to do is hear it.
Yeah.
But it's going around. But it's great. I'm very proud of the record.
I know you guys don't play a lot of new stuff when you play live, but which tracks are you putting in your live set?
We're already doing Breakout, and we're trying to figure out a couple more to do, but we haven't had the luxury of doing a sound check to be able to pull that off. So we'll see.
So yeah, Monkey's a good one. Bring It All Home. I mean, there's a lot of great songs on this, and I will tell you that the mark of a good album usually is that it doesn't hit you right away, and it
Grows on you.
kind of it grows on repeated
Yep,
listens.
I agree.
I feel like the first time I listened to that, I was like, okay, and then I listened to it again. So I got into a little more and a little more, and I think it definitely was a grower. So I would encourage people that if they're just kind of lukewarm on it the first time, just give it a few more spins and it'll kind of reveal itself, especially those subtle
Exactly.
guitar parts in the background and those harmonies.
Exactly.
Before I let you
Thanks,
go, do
Michael.
you have a new solo record you're working on?
Yeah, yeah. It's been taking way too much time only because this new Night Range record came out and they don't want to stack them on top of each other. So I'm trying to get that done. But yeah, man, I'm staying busy. We'll see what happens with touring. But this new record's kind of fun to have out. We got Japan booked. We got the Kiss Cruise coming up booked. See if that happens. Summerfest coming up in a couple of weeks, another big concert. But we got a lot going on.
Well, Brad Gillis, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, and good luck with the record. Stay safe, stay healthy, and good luck with the tour.
Thank you, Michael. Take care, buddy.
All right, have a good one.
Bye bye.